Joining me now is Karsh Kale, and we just saw his film. And this was the first time you got to see this cut of it.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. It was, I don't think you're ever ready to see your, kind of your life story go by like that. And, it's, it's a wonder how Shakti Hasija, the filmmaker, the director, how he was able to kind of go through just hours and years of footage and kind of, tie it all together and tell a story in 2 hours. I was pretty amazed that he was able to pull that off.
When was the inception of this film?
It was about 3.5 years ago, actually, when I was approached by the producers, Salim Suleiman and the director, Shakti Hasija, that they wanted to do a film on me. But I think that at that time, they had a different idea in mind of what the story would be. And then I think Shakti, as he started exploring my story and my life, and kind of doing his own research, he kind of disappeared for 6 months actually in the middle, and we didn't even know if this film was going to happen anymore. And then he kind of came back and was like, I spent this time realizing that this is a totally different story than I thought it was, and I want to tell that story. So it was it took some time to kind of transform into what it has become now.
So you mentioned, so it's a documentary, 3 years from start till now, but you have footage from so long ago.
Some of that footage was my parents actually. They contacted my parents and they had old VHS tapes that they converted and digitized so that they were able to use some of that stuff. I mean, there's some video of me breakdancing when I was 9 years old and stuff that my mom obviously snuck in there. So that was, just over the years, there've been, some of that stuff was, before any YouTube or any, cell phones or anything. It was all video cameras and VHS tapes that, from old, kind of local news things, or, so we kept all of it.
In the film, it kind of chronicles how your musical journey and how people essentially found your music. What is that like now today, though, with YouTube and easy access on people's phones to share music and music sharing sites? And one of your albums was one of the first on iTunes. So what is that like today for you as a musical artist, people discovering you and your music?
It's different. I think back in the day, it was it was such an incredible accomplishment to, go to a city and sell out a show, whether it was 1,000 people or 200 people or whatever it was. But that's where you got that validation of, that whatever you're doing is resonating.
Yeah.
And now there's, I think in the beginning of the digital age of music, it was very validating to see all these numbers flying at you and, look at the views. But there's something kind of impersonal about it, about how that is connecting with people now. And I don't really connect with those numbers per se. And they don't really mean as much. Because
it's kind of essentially all similar to the evolution of music and how that consumption has changed as well.
Because we're consuming everything at the same time from the same device now. It's not like you turn the TV on to watch TV, you go to the theater to watch movies, you turn the stereo on to listen to music. Now everything's on the same device. So you're watching movies and watching videos and watching the news and watching your friend's vacation video and looking at pictures and reading an article that was interesting to you, all in the same, city.
Though technically we are at a theater at the Chicago South Asian Film Festival watching your film. How is it like having your film screen at this festival, and how's your experience been at CSAFF?
Yeah, it's amazing, always amazing to see yourself on a big screen like that, and to see, especially to see, for me to see my life's work to this point kind of, kind of weave together into this story and see it on a big screen, hear it in a theater environment is super exciting.
Announced today. There's a big announcement if you want to share what that is.
So the movie Gully Boy, which I had done music for, done the original score and written some songs for, has been nominated in the Best Foreign Film category at the Oscars.
That's awesome. How does that feel?
Amazing. I woke up to the news this morning. So it's incredible. I had a feeling that it would get some attention. The film was really well done. Zoya Akhtar, the director, had really just knocked it out of the park. And everybody involved did such a great job. And it was definitely it pushed Indian cinema in a different direction. So I knew that would get some sort of attention. I wasn't sure that obviously the Oscars were going to.
Now during the Q&A, you mentioned collaboration and possible people you may or may not be interested, and it was a little bit, maybe not anybody currently, but is there anybody who is not alive anymore that you wish you could have collaborated with?
Yeah, there were two people actually that that unfortunately they were supposed to collaborate together, and they both passed away in the same month, which was Jeff Buckley and Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. Two artists that I would have loved to work with. Yeah.
But almost you could, in a way, now with like digital technology.
Yeah,
of,
in fact, I have. I mean,
Okay.
there was a project a couple of years back where I was able to take multi-tracks of Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan's work and create a completely new remake of his stuff with using his vocals, but then as if we were sitting in a room together, kind of created a new aesthetic for what it sounded like if we would have worked together.
Do you ever remix and go back to your own music, because you DJ as well, and maybe like something you made 10, 20 years ago and go, ooh, I want to change that up? Or do you ever go back and revisit your old music?
I don't really remix old stuff as much as I'll maybe use as inspiration to do something new. But I still play the old stuff. It's the cool thing about, when you can play something 20 years old that still fits in context with something that was just made yesterday, and still works in the same DJ set.
Touring, is there ever a song you're like, oh, do I have to play that one again?
No, not really. I mean, it gets like that if I'm on tour and when you're on the 15th, 16th show or the 20th show and you're doing the same set over and over again. Then the set starts to get a little, you kind of go on autopilot. But I tend to change it up very often in terms of even what I'm doing as an artist. So sometimes I'm out as a DJ, sometimes I'm out with my full band, sometimes I'm playing with a trio. And we might be focusing on something like a little bit more about the musicality or the relationship between the instrumentation of that particular ensemble. When I'm DJing, sometimes I'm just trying to keep people dancing. So it's totally. Or sometimes I'm playing as a classical musician.
Yeah.
So each time it's a different thing. So you don't get stuck and stay in the same.
Well, and speaking of dancing and the festival, you're DJing for the closing night. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be, hopefully everyone's, spent some time checking out some films and stuff, so it'll be time to cut loose a little bit.
How was that like coming to the festival and you have the film and you're DJing and then just being a consumer of film?
Well, it's been great. It's so nice to be, you get that feeling of community because you're here with other people who have, put in a lot of work and a lot of effort creating, different types of productions. And, it's nice to see how people, through conversations, you get to learn how people accomplish. Because filmmaking there is no tried and true, this is how you make a film. Everybody figures it out, from a blank piece of paper and stuff from there.
Which seems similar to your journey as a musician of constantly evolving. What is next for you and what's next for the film?
For the film, we'll see. We're talking a few other film festivals that are in the works right now. And then eventually it'll wind up either on one of the streaming platforms.
Is there a website or anything that people should go check out?
KarshKale.com is my site. So there's always, hopefully it'll be updated soon again.
And in the title disco, is that more just because dance disco? Or?
Yeah, disco is kind of like it's almost like there were two things that I think there was a play on rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, sure.
Right, and then disco is kind of like a little bit more of one of my uncles would describe
for dance music.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It does disco music.
Yeah.
Rock, disco, tabla. So it's like it's supposed to, I guess, evoke that kind of.
So rock, tabla, disco.
Or rock, disco, tabla.
Rock, disco, tabla.
Yeah. And disco also to me it's the predecessor of all electronic music and dance music, club music, the idea of DJing. So as opposed to. Could have said rock house or rock techno, but that would have been too specific. But I think that everybody who are the filmmakers, they all agreed that rock disco tabla was the.
It's a fun title, and it was a very fun film. Congratulations, and thank you so much for talking with me about your film.
Thank you.